Hello and welcome back to another video for Final Fantasy XIV with me, Meoni. Today I thought we'd do a quick update of a glamour that I've started to use quite a lot recently, that I sort of settled on. A lot of people weren't that convinced with the recent attire that was added to the cash shop, most notably for Lady Iceheart, and honestly, I had no problems with it. A lot of people said that it's too similar to items we already have in the game, and whilst that's true and can be said for a lot of the, especially for a Realm Reborn outfits and Heavensward themed outfits, even for protagonists and antagonists, a lot of the gear was basically reused from models we already had and embellished. So I certainly don't have a problem with it. Some other people do, but I quite like what I put together to go with this, and I briefly showed this when I first talked about it, but a few people have asked me what all of the pieces are, so here's that video. This is the glamour then, very briefly, that I came up with, bits and pieces together. A lot of it is cash shop related, but I do like the overall result. It's very rare for me to like something blue. Usually I go for white or black, but especially with this, I think it really brings out the details, not only on the skirt that I decided to use, which is a different set of bottoms, but also the different embellishments as well. I'm quite proud of this one, even though it is just a combination of stuff we've seen before. So what is this exactly made up of? This, as you can see, is made up of, well, I'm a sage, so I'm using my Edenmorn pendulums, which are obviously from Eden. You're going to have to do E12S to get those. They're kind of like designed after like a rose motif. I don't know if you can see that. I like them, but of course that's the only thing that's locking that to obviously being a healer and a sage in particular. I just wanted something that was black or silver, or both in this case, to go with the embellishments from the blue and the black and the silver elsewhere. So that's the sort of theme we went with. In terms of the head then, I went for the Frontier ribbon from the Frontier attire. This is something I end up using quite a lot more than I expected to. I've dyed that royal blue. It was the closest I could get in terms of color match to the actual chest piece, and I think I've done a fairly decent job in that regard. There's no point in wearing any necklaces. Usually I wear a choker. The actual chest piece from the Iceheart attire, from the Iceheart robe, turns off your necklace slot, unfortunately, which is why you can't display that there. Otherwise, I would usually have my bell collar or something like that. But I quite like the color difference anyway, and this sort of weird sheen of leather. It would be lovely if one day we could get this dyeable, but again, it is built after a character. One of the things that must be said, though, if we hide our weapons, that is different from a lot of the other versions of this coat that we didn't talk about enough in that video, is that when they designed Lady Iceheart's attire, yes, it was based on multiple outfits that were already in the game and other robes that people have already pointed out. But one of the things they did address was the hair clipping. So one of the advantages of having this chest piece over the other variants that are in the game is that your hair, if you have a character with hair that is of a sufficient length, you're not going to have this sort of hood clipping through it. Now, that's not to say it's not completely without its clipping. As you can see with Meoni's long hair here, you do have some clipping into the side of the hood, but the hood sits lower and is less bulky on the back, so it's less noticeable and looks more, well, it's cleaner, right? It's cleaner, it looks more appropriate, more understandable, and if you've got shorter haired characters or a ponytail, it's going to look even better because it's not going to clip through those at all, right? I just want the longest hairstyle in the game. That's just my personal preference. If there were longer hairstyles, I'd go for those. So obviously we can't dye that, so we're matching to that. One of the things about this robe is it has like these ruffled sort of sleeves. Those have been removed, obviously, because we're using the Eastern Lady Errant attire's gloves as a cash shop attire that we looked at in a very old video now. Looking back at it, but I really like these gloves. I've not dyed these either. I could easily dye those like jet black or gunmetal black, but the leather sort of black color that they come with, and that sort of like almost, well, that single finger that's been sort of wrapped up there on one side, and then the asymmetry with the sort of like wrapping of straps up the arm that side, along with the color of the nails being turned black. I thought that was a really nice contrast, especially with like sort of like silver band as well around each side. I just thought it added something extra to that. Instead of just having fully enclosed gloves or symmetrical gloves, I finally found a use for these, and I do like them actually. And I made those black so that we could match some of the finer details to them. One of the other things then about this is that normally this robe has this huge like cut section in it, as you can see where my mouse is pointing. But one of the things that I've never used in any other glamour is the Yakaku Koshita. Now this is an awesome piece of gear, again from the cash shop, unfortunately. I know, but it's something I've never really considered using in any other glamour, mostly because I'm like, well, okay, these cranes are fantastic, but they don't go with much. Whereas I was like, okay, well, if I dye that royal blue as well, that kind of matches. We've got a bit of black in there, so it goes with the gloves. And then we can tie in the silver with this white line and the silver sort of detailing. And as much as the embroidery isn't the most detailed thing, at least on the plate selection window here, it doesn't look too bad in the actual game. I think it looks quite nice, actually, especially from a distance. And it's just those mix of the black, the silver, the white, and the blue that really sort of makes this pop out to me. And then for the booties, I decided to use the Oracle leggings because I was going for a, well, does it really need to be dyed sort of option. I haven't really used these boots many places. And it just makes me wish that the Gaia boots as part of the Gaia's attire wasn't part of a one piece, which is what I was saying originally about Iceheart's glamour in the first place. Was I really hope going forward we can have separate pieces, because it allows for things like this. I mean, this is the Oracle leggings with cash shop items, you know, combined. The only thing that's from the game is the weapon and the helm, right? Admittedly, but it looks really good. A really good combination of things. But anyway, I know a lot of people are going to criticize this. Well, it's just cash shop items. I know, I get that. But I think it's quite a nice selection. And people were asking, so there we go. Hopefully that scratched the itch. A bit of a basic glamour video for you, but yeah, I really like that aesthetic. Also, if you were going for like a blue mage look, the robe is the perfect color and offers a completely different option, because there's not really that many robes that look good but don't clip horribly. Again, it is another robe, you know, at the end of the day. Maybe we're kind of done with robes at this point, you know. Hopefully in 7.0 we see stuff that, well, isn't a robe that looks good as well. Yeah, I really like this aesthetic, so there you go. That's me sharing that. Much love. Enjoy the rest of your day. Lots of videos coming up, including on Sunday we have the live letter. Hopefully you're excited for that and all of the new stuff that we're going to see. Hopefully a look at some new glamour stuff as well. Anyway, much love. Enjoy the rest of your time zone. And I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.
We're so mad because it's an optional piece of gear that doesn't offer any pay-to-win stats and is a completely optional extra that's designed on a character that was designed specifically with reuse of that gear in mind at the time of the original release. But we don't care because we want headlines.
So just another day in the Final Fantasy XIV community when they actually should be more surprised that there isn't pay-to-win elements all over the store like in every other bloody MMORPG in the market. Honestly, it gets exhausting. It really does.